To my embarrassment, I have not yet reviewed Captain America: A Brave New World. I did see this movie opening night, but I just never had the opportunity to review it. I think my scheduling just overran itself. But tomorrow I am seeing Thunderbolts, so I think it is as good a time as any to finally get my opinion about this movie out there. This movie had a steep uphill battle on its hands. I mean, I love Steve Rogers. He's like my favourite character in these movies. And Sam Wilson had some big shoes to fill. And basically, I'll sum up my thoughts on it through this clip.
First off, generic, unimaginative.
Yeah, this movie's not good. What really bothers me about this movie is that although a lot of people have said this is an Incredible Hulk sequel in disguise, and I'll get onto that in a bit, what this movie is to me is the Winter Soldier carbon copy, but worse. It's literally the same thing. Captain America is trying to make do with his new position, but feels at odds with the people that he's serving. Then a friend who's a former super soldier who's been brainwashed to commit acts of violence is on a hit list. So Cap goes rogue to find out who's behind it all and enlist the help of a Falcon and a Black Widow. Then he finds there's a conspiracy weaving into the governing party, and it turns out to be a mastermind villain who was a side character way back in Phase 1. Difference is, while Winter Soldier feels like one of the best standalone MCU movies, Brave New World is not even fit to lace its boots because it just doesn't have the consequences that Winter Soldier has, as well as the character development and the chemistry between the actors. Everything just feels really paper thin. The chemistry between New Falcon and Sam is just nowhere near on par the chemistry that Sam had with Steve. New Falcon just cracked jokes at inappropriate moments and was very irritating. The new Black Widow, who I just cannot remember her name at this point, she is insufferably distracting. It's just the fact that Hollywood has a tendency to cast distractingly small women in roles, flip guys over twice their size that would never happen in real life. I do like this actress, I've seen her in loads of stuff, but in here she's just out of her depth. They have the fabulous presence of Giancarlo Esposito and they completely waste him, and him being in this movie really does bring to light how much this movie was chopped up and edited in production. And then you got Tim Blake Nelson, who finally returns, and I love Tim Blake Nelson. He's probably the most interesting part of the movie, but again, it just feels like really choppy when he just comes in and out of the movie. And again, it just feels like an Incredible Hulk sequel with Sam Wilson for some reason at the forefront. It just seems idiotic that they didn't bring back Bruce Banner for a movie that has so many things to do with Bruce Banner, but, you know, Kevin Feige obviously hates Hulk. Harrison Ford practically carries the movie. He really does feel like he's taking over from the late William Hurt, paying homage to him, but also making the role his own. And he's definitely the best character in the movie. I think Pitch Meeting summed it up the best, so I'll try and paraphrase them. They said basically we need Sam Wilson present at the end, where Thaddeus Ross has a character arc. Because as it stands, Sam Wilson is not grabbing me as Captain America. Now, I like Sam as a side character, I don't think he works as a main character. This is now 2 projects of Sam Wilson feeling inadequate as Captain America, but it just becomes blatantly clear that Falcon and the Winter Soldier should have been Captain America 4. If you'd have tweaked the writing a lot more, especially around the Flag Smashers because they're terrible, have Bucky a main character because him and Sam just have great chemistry, this would have been a pretty fine Captain America movie. With also Bucky and John Walker being present, that would have led straight into Thunderbolts, rather than giving audiences extra homework to do to look at a TV show on Disney+. And sure, the movie does have the MCU connecting again, but really all it is a reference, and maybe some setup for the Mutant Saga since this thing is made out of adamantium, which was literally the only time in the movie that I woke up. As it stands, in all of its mediocrity, I just couldn't watch this movie without having my mind wander to other places. Everything from how convoluted the story is and how thinly written the characters are, even the action scenes and how they're filmed, this just screams post-Endgame MCU at its worst. Not to say it's the absolute worst of the MCU movies, but it is pretty indicative of this era. Crossing my fingers that Thunderbolts can bring it back to basics.